And this is the Queensland opposition leader David Crisafulli speaking outside Parliament.
Of having your vehicle that you use to earn a living and have you thrown out of it because of a generation of repeat hardcore offenders. Behind me are victims of assaults, home invasions, people who still remember the smell of what happened to them on that night. Got a Queenslander speaking up for his neighbours. 8 cars in the last 3 months. Tyres slashed. Insurance premiums up. And he's speaking out on behalf of his street. Behind me is a veteran who was stabbed at a shopping centre by a group of teens. Parents who have had to comfort kids after their safe space has been violated, to try and tell their children that things will be all right, even though deep down they don't know if it really is. But that's the trauma that they have had to go through and their families have had to go through. And behind me is a father who's putting his hand up to serve. My commitment to all of these Queenslanders, and indeed every single Queenslander, is by the end of the year, the Making Queensland Safer laws will be laws in this state. Adult crime, adult time will be in legislation. It's a commitment I made him, and I'm making it to Queenslanders. And I've got the team to deliver it, because for 4 years we have been listening when the government tried to say there wasn't an issue. I've got a lawyer, a prosecutor, a detective of police, and they are ready to implement the changes that this state needs. But you're not going to get it unless you vote for it. Queenslanders have got to vote for change. They've got to vote for a fresh start, otherwise they're going to get more of the same. More of what we saw last night, where I was criticised for speaking about the youth crime crisis. I was told that I've raised it too many times. We've raised it because the government doesn't want to talk about it, and they won't ever fix it because their heart's not in it. Mine is. I'm standing today with victims, but they've become friends. And we're fighting for them. And we're fighting for every Queenslander. Those who have been impacted, we're trying to reduce the number who will be impacted in the future. And it is victim numbers that will drive us. Less victims. That's what we are putting forward to the people of this state. And finally, I want to make another announcement, and I will be this afternoon joining Brett and Belinda Beasley on the Gold Coast to officially tell them with you. But I announce that if elected, Jack's Law will become permanent in law in Queensland. What Brett and Belinda have gone through, and the case for change that they have put forward through the tragedy of losing their beautiful boy, has been something that has inspired us. Their local MP, Sam O'Connor, led the case, and the government fought against it for a long time. They reluctantly put in the laws, but it has a sunset clause, and it shouldn't. Those laws are working. It's detected over 1,000 weapons since it came in. And my grave concern is if a minority Labor government was re-elected with the Greens, that is one of the things that would be on the chopping block, and we are not prepared to allow that to occur. And that's why I'm asking Queenslanders to vote for change. And Jack's Law will become permanent in law to protect young people from knives, from weapons, and Queensland knows that is important. We are serious about dealing with the youth crime crisis. It is going to be the first bit of legislation we take to the Parliament. It will be law by the end of the year if Queenslanders vote for change, but they have to vote for change. And we are offering a fresh start for Queensland. Thanks very much.
Good morning, all. Most people here know me, our family circumstances. I'll put my hand up to run for the seat of Capalaba because of those circumstances. Juvenile crime is real. It's a fact. Until something is done about it, it'll continue on. So please just consider where your family is going to be this time tomorrow or the next day. Thank you.
I'm Lindy Atkinson, Voice for Victims. I'm actually not a victim of crime. However, we have supported thousands of victims of youth crime. We see their trauma, we hear their trauma. This government has failed them and failed us. So all I can suggest is vote for LNP for change on Saturday, and I actually really embrace the Victims Advocacy Service that they are prepared to put into place, because that will help all Queenslanders of youth crime. Thank you.
Peter Allen, Mermaid Waters. After 30 times being hit in the last 2 years, we're sick of it. Time for change. Vote Queensland, get behind this. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Angelo Justice. I've been affected by this youth crime crisis with my family, not once, not twice, 3 times in the last 15 months. This needs to change. I call all Queenslanders to take this opportunity and vote for change. Thank you.
I'm Chris Sanders. I'm a victim from youth crime. I was stabbed at Alexandra Hills, and it needs to be changed and changed now. Vote LNP for Saturday so we can change everything.
Good morning all. My name is Ravi. I was a victim for not 1 time, 2 times, but 5 times in 18 months. So please vote for change, vote for LNP. Thank you.
My name is George Atkinson. I'm with Voice for Victims. My mother always told me what I walk past is what I accept. I do not accept the current youth crime crisis and the huge number of victims that are out there. I want change. I ask you to help us make change.
I am Leanne. I have been a victim of violence and stolen cars more than once, and I need things to change, or else things are only going to get worse in the state, so we need to change of government. Please support the AMP and get change happening quick and fast. Thank you.
Victor, yeah, there's a lectern here. Just here. Just here, you got it?
Hello, my name is Victor White. I'm the husband of Violene White. She was a victim of youth crime type of thing. So you need a strong leader to lead Queensland, right? So the best thing to do is to vote for LNP, for a strong leader who has a backbone.
Hello, I'm Ben Cannon. I'm a victim from the past and I want change. There are victims in the court system today and the justice system today that also deserve change. And for the victims of the future, we expect and all need change. Use this Saturday as that opportunity to create that change for Queensland.
Thanks, Ben. I'm going to step up. Debbie, can I? Is that okay?
Thank you very much, George.
Thank you, everyone.
There you go, George.
Thanks, guys.
We've just heard some harrowing testimonies from victims of crime in this state who know that unless we change the government, we will not see an end to Labor's youth crime crisis. I'm going to call it out for what it is. The defining issue in this campaign has been Labor's youth crime crisis, and 3 days out from an election, we have not seen a single new policy from this Labor government to solve the youth crime crisis that they started 10 years ago when they watered down our laws, when they removed detention as a last resort, when they closed the children's court to victims and their families, when they created over 280,000 victims of crime in this state. They do not have a plan to fix the youth crime crisis. They have had 10 years. 10 years. it has taken to create this crisis? Well, the LNP has a plan to fix the youth crime crisis. We have outlined a comprehensive plan, and it starts with our Making Queensland Safer laws. It starts with adult crime, adult time, removing detention as a last resort, putting the rights of victims before the rights of offenders, and a professional victims advocate service. At the moment, Voice for Victims is performing that service. It's a service government should be giving to victims of crime in this state, and they're failing to do it. And at the other end of the spectrum, we are doing early intervention and rehabilitation, gold standard early intervention. We've got our Staying on Track program to provide 12 months worth of intensive rehabilitation to every single youth that is in detention and gets released from detention. Detention with the purpose, our circuit breaker sentencing. We've got regional reset programs. We've got our youth justice schools and our crime prevention schools.
That's where we leave that media conference, Youth Crime, the focus today. An emotional media conference there led by David Crisafulli and a number of members who have been at the coalface of the youth crime crisis in Queensland.